If you read the title of this video and you came here wanting a quick one-word answer as to whether or not Claudio is going to be broken in Season 2, yes. Yes, he will. Claudio was already a character that had some really good strengths, right? He has good mids, he has really good range, he's hard to step because he's got really good tracking on his jabs as well as good homing moves, decent punishment, very good whiff punishment, good key power, good space control. You know, at the end of the day, what it came down to, why he wasn't a top character, why he was probably a bottom half character, right? Even if he wasn't right down the bottom, a bottom half of the cast character. What it really came down to was he just didn't really have much mix-up potential. Yeah, so there wasn't much reason to duck. His lows were either not very good or slow or reactable. Sidestep 4 is a really good low, but it's just not enough to make you want to duck, right? And he doesn't have a good throw mix up. So basically what it came down to was, if you just kind of chill, then at the end of the day you're going to be a scarier character than he can be. You've got to give some credit to the Tekken team, because I think they've once again exceeded expectations, at least in terms of how much they're willing to do, how far they've been willing to go with some of these changes. So what we would have expected, especially since we knew that the new characters were going to be getting new moves as well as property changes, is probably just one good low. One good new low, make his low game slightly more diverse, slightly scarier. No, that's not what they did. That's not what they did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the big buffs, right? I'm going to go into the big changes. There are a lot of changes in Claudio's list. It's one of the bigger ones. But I'm just going to go into the big ones, because a lot of the things are either, it's going to be better to see how they play out when Season 2 actually comes out, and we'll have a look at that together, or they're just kind of not that interesting, definitely not when compared to the big things. And I don't want to go on for nearly half an hour like I did about Leo last night. That's my main character, and that's kind of a different video where I went over each note individually and kind of broke down how it's going to change game plan. That's not what I'm going to do here. I just want to talk about how ridiculous some of Claudio's stuff is now. So let's start with his forward 3, which also affects his 4-3. So his forward 3 was seen as one of his best moves, and it's kind of been buffed and nerfed, right? So it's now a counter hit launcher, which it wasn't before. If you don't know what the move is, it's the move where he low crushes. It's got long range. It's been a homing mid. Has the spin animation. Safe on block at -9, right? So it was a very kind of multi-purpose move. And even if it got blocked, you were safe. It was their turn, but not that bad. So now it's a counter hit launcher. That sounds absolutely ridiculous. That's the buff, but it is also now a high. It's a high, and it's -5. So if you compare, obviously it's probably worse overall. As an overall move, it's more dangerous because of the counter hit launch potential, but it's probably worse not being a mid. If you compare it to a counter hit high launcher that's homing, the best one would probably be the Season 1 version of Paul's quarter circle back 4. Which isn't going to be as good now. We don't know if it's still a full counter hit launcher, so it would be hard to say right now that we should compare it to Season 2, even though Season 2's version is going to make more sense, right? This was +3 on block. It was +3, and Claudio's forward 3 is going to be -5. So quite a bit worse, but still, as a relatively fast, good range, homing, counter hit launcher, that's still going to be really strong. And it also it low crushes, right? It low crushes, which Paul's quarter circle back 4 never did. So that's a good change. I think that they made it low crush a little bit slower, so they made it more like a hop kicks low crush. Before, it low crushed in 6 frames, which is really fast for a low crush. Now it's going to do it in 9 frames, which is the same as hop kicks basically. It's really interesting because it's a pretty big buff and a pretty big nerf, right? It's now a counter hit launcher, but now it's high. It's not like an unavoidable move like it was before. And it's kind of interesting the way that has interacted with 4-3, because that is now buffed and nerfed too. Before 4-3, his 4 is a magic 4, but it would only convert with 4-3, right? So it's a 12 frame magic 4. You do 4-3, the 3 would screw, and so that would be your magic 4. And you throw it out, and you'd be -9 after the 3, because it was the same as the forward 3. So -9, same as a magic 4 anyway. So it was a different take on a magic 4, but basically the same thing. But also, I guess, slightly better before, because the mid came after the high, and the mid was safe. So ducking a magic 4, another magic 4, could potentially be more rewarding if you weren't fast enough. So now the 3 in 4-3 is a high 2. So this is worse. This is just worse, because you can if they're going for a counter hit setup with their magic 4, you can, if you block it, you can now duck the second hit if they go for it and launch that, right? So that's definitely a lot worse. It was one of those kind of like, how can they throw this out and it's safe and it ends in a mid? You know, it was a really rewarding, pretty safe move to use. Now it's a lot worse than that because you can duck it. But now it's a natural combo by the sounds of it. So if this still screws on hit, right? If this still screws on hit and it still does the same damage, which it sounds like it does, then he's just gained an absolutely ridiculous 12-frame Punisher. Right? Think about it. It's going to do big damage and a screw as a 12-frame. It's going to wall splat. So, just out of nowhere, just a totally ridiculous 12-frame Punisher. Probably, if it works how we expect it will. That's ridiculous. These are the changes I actually really like to see, right? They took a really good move and they just basically repurposed it. It's still really good. They just made it slightly better in some ways and slightly worse in some ways. They've changed it up, which I like. You know, they haven't ruined the move. They haven't made it too good, definitely not. It's probably... The forward 3 by itself is probably a bit worse, and 4-3 is probably better, right? I mean, it's more risky. It's more multi-purpose now because it's going to be an extremely powerful 12-frame Punisher. It looks like a lot of these kind of things have changed a little bit. I'm going to have to redo a lot of my punishment lists, so remastered stuff for Season 2, I suppose. And it's kind of interesting because we haven't got to the crazy stuff yet, right? That's a pretty fair change, I'd say. And... yeah, so let's carry on. So more things that now are natural combos. His back 4-2 is now a natural combo, which almost certainly means that his Rage Drive is a natural combo. So this can be used as a block and whiff punisher now. His back 4-2 is the long range sidekick into the punch. It's delayable. Wall splats knocks down. It's the one that he uses at the end of his bread and butter combos. Gives him Starburst on hit. So this is now a natural combo. So his Rage Drive is going to be a natural combo, and you can use that as a block or a whiff punisher, or just throw it out because it's safe. So that's a launcher, mid, safe. It's plus, right? It's plus. So that's really, really, really good. And yeah, we still haven't got to it yet. So here comes the juice, right? And this is, I think a lot of people are still looking at this and basically trying to figure out how these patch notes exist. And whether or not we're misunderstanding them in some way. There's people hoping it's ambiguous. There's people hoping that it's not going to work in the same way, that there's going to be more changes to this than what it says. Basically, in the patch notes, it lists all of his Starburst moves. All of them. And it basically just says you don't need Starburst anymore to use them. Now... the idea behind the balance of Claudio is that he has some really ridiculously powerful moves. They're just hidden behind a power-up, right? You have to... it's quite easy to do. All of his combo enders do it. Some of his punishers do it, and things like that. But basically, you have to meet a condition, and then you get a one-off power-up. You can use it on one like really powered-up move. Okay, these moves are ridiculous. There's no two ways about it. Especially a couple of them are totally ridiculous. And he can just do it now. That's really the best explanation that we have right now. He can just do them. I don't know... this character is going to be so obnoxious. He's going to be so fraudulent, especially online. I don't want to be the guy to say it, but I'm not being funny. His forward 1+2, 1+2 is a safe, delayable launcher. Mid launcher, right? He's just going to be able to do that now. And at best, you go, okay, well, he's at -9. I can take my turn. What? How do you do that? Have you seen the range on it? It's going to be like the most godlike whiff punisher in the game, and he can just do it. He can just do it. The damage on it is ridiculous. The carry on it is ridiculous because he gets that animation where you go sort of flying away and you're spinning. He still gets to run up and do a screw. And then you have his down 2-2, which maybe in tournaments, people, they're going to be, well, you can basically just react to the second hit. This is the 2-hit low launcher where you can block the second hit. It's not natural, but let's be honest, right? It high crushes on counter hit. It's natural. This is ridiculous. He's going to be able to just go down 2, and even if he just does down 2, and even if you're good and you're ready to block it, you're just ducking now. You're ducking after he does a high crushing low poke, right? You're now ducking after you've been hit by it, or or when you're blocking it because you're waiting for the second hit either way. And it's like it's like -11 or -12, right? You get like most characters are going to get nothing, like no reward for blocking this move. And the thing is that like we say, people you can react to the second hit on hit even. You don't have to get hit by the second hit. But I'll tell you one thing: if they wanted to balance this game for the online player base, that they're not going to make them happy with this. In fact, they are going to make them happy with this because they're all just going to pick Claudio. Because I'm not confident in blocking this move. I'm not confident in blocking it. I don't think a lot of you would say that you're that confident that you're going to block it every single time. It's hard to react to. Online, it's going to be even harder to react to. And now, in a world where obviously people already complain. I'm not saying I do, but in a world where people already complain because Claudio's just throwing out his like ridiculous hop kick and you struggle to punish it, definitely on whiff, sometimes even on block. Now he's just got this ridiculous low, and if you don't feel confident that you're going to be able to react to it every time, you're going to duck for it. You're going to just be throwing out a low parry because there's no reward for blocking the full thing. So you're just going to be throwing out low parries if you're scared of it on a read, and you're just going to be eating his big mids, which is probably a big part of why they've changed his forward 3, let's be honest. But he's now got back 4-2. Though the most ridiculous one might be his, I think the notation is down 1-2. This move is really a move that made sense being locked behind Starburst. Even if it's not kind of the one that you see the most, or it's the one that's the most powerful, it does not make sense as a move that you can just throw out, right? I think it's mid. I think it's totally you can't. It's not interruptible. You can't get out of it. It's plus on block. You're just throwing out a mid. It's natural, I think, and it's plus on block. How can you just do that? You can't just do that. That's ridiculous. The move is, if he's in your face and he has plus frames, he can literally go, well, I'm going to do down 1-2 now. I have plus frames, enough plus frames that say that you can't get out of it, right? And he's going to do down 1-2, and either it's going to hit you and do a lot of damage and give him plus frames, or you're going to block it and he's going to have plus frames. This is what's making people think that they might change some of the properties of these moves, but it doesn't say that they're going to do that in the patch notes. It just says these moves can be done now. You can just do them. And then there's the cherry on top, because you're going, well, it can't. That doesn't make sense because he's balanced around Starburst. He still has Starburst. He's still going to be able to get the Starburst and have ridiculous combos once he's activated Starburst, and still be able to activate Starburst again at the end of the combo. All of that stuff still exists. You're like, this is his whole style. It's what he's based around. So you can't just give him these moves. What they've actually done is made it so that these moves are more ridiculous when he has Starburst. That's what they've done. So it literally sounds like he has these moves, he can do them all the time, and when he has Starburst, they're just even more ridiculous. Let's have a look at these quickly. Let me first really quickly note, I was talking about back 4-2 being natural, and the Rage Drive now and everything as well is probably natural. Right, so it is natural, but it is now punishable on block. It was -9 before, it's -12 now, so there is at least a bit of a trade-off there. Even if it makes his Rage Drive much better, it means he can't just throw out back 4-2 the way he did before, delay it and everything, right? But let's go on to these Starburst moves. So, Starburst, forward 1+2, 1+2. That's the whiff punisher, the safe whiff punisher I was talking about. When you have Starburst, opponent reaction on hit from side and behind was changed. I don't really know on this one. I'm assuming that basically it didn't launch before and now it will. Or, maybe this one is a nerf, I don't know. But I think that this is basically just making it so that it's always going to launch no matter what position you're in. So that's a buff. Starburst down 1-2, that's just what I was talking about, the mid that's plus frames. Changed when he's in Starburst, so you can get guaranteed plus frames on this no matter what it sounds like, but when he's in Starburst, changed from +3 to +8 on block. +3 to +8 on block. Opponent reaction on hit was changed, and recovery decreased by 1 frame on hit. +8. +8. And this isn't. I'm not even that upset about it. If it was +8 the whole time, I wouldn't have been that upset about it because it was locked behind Starburst. But now that he can just do it and get +3 all the time. And the other one that's been changed is his Starburst back 4-3-2. He can also do this all the time now. This is probably the one that we never see, and I don't actually have that good of an understanding of it. But the frames on block and everything have been changed on the final hit of this string. It kind of sounds like maybe they want it to be able to be used in combos a bit more and stuff. I'm not totally sure on this one, but the main thing about these buffs to the Starburst versions isn't even the buffs to the Starburst versions really. It's kind of the idea that it kind of confirms, no, actually, yeah, you're just going to get these like weaker versions of these moves all of the time. So Claudio has now gone from being a character who was like, you know, pretty fair and honest, even if people thought his hop kick was ridiculous and everything, right? He's just gone from that to being a character that now has moves that were originally intended to be locked behind a condition that you had to meet before you could use them. Now he just gets them all the time. So he's going to be very top tier. He's going to be very, very good. I'm sure Shadow is pretty happy right now, right? And I think that the thing is that, you know, it's kind of an argument that no one really wants to be the one making. It makes you sound bad, but online he's going to be so fraudulent. People are not going to enjoy playing against this online at all. At all. Anyway, that's my initial thoughts on the new changes for Claudio. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll definitely be taking a look at him when the patch actually drops tomorrow. Looks like I'm not going to be able to get that many more videos done before tomorrow, so I've done Leo, I've done Claudio, I've done some of the big nerfs to the top characters. I'll probably get one more video out tonight, so I'll see you then, guys. Goodbye.